Hey guys, welcome to this new video, and in today I'm going to basically show off and recreate my you know my last patch that I created within Hive, and that I also showed you in my last video. And as you could hear from that video, it's a very rough and aggressive bass that I created, and basically the sound sounds like this. So yeah, basically now I just want to let you show what I did, and I'm going to recreate it right now. So let's go ahead and pick up our init patch. So classic initial patch. And what I did to make this patch was basically go ahead and set the voices from 8 to 4, and I'm going to use the two oscillators. But first of all, I want to change the sound engine of this synthesizer from normal to dirty to really, make the sound a little bit more gritty, more filthy. So let's go ahead and let's keep our sawtooth wave, and let's set the unison from 1 to 4, and of course, leave pan width the way they are. Just give a little bit of detune around 2.50. Yeah, and let's give a sub oscillator from, instead of like oscillator, let's give it a half. And yeah, let's max up the volume here, leave it at -12. And let's also now pass to the second oscillator. So as a second oscillator, I have again a sawtooth wave, and again 4 voices of unison, and octave -1. Phase, both oscillator, the phase is random, and both oscillators is detuned 2.50, and the volume here is going to be halfway. Again, I'm going to set up the sub oscillator 2 instead of half as a square, but I'm going to low down all the way down the volume of the second sub oscillator. This because I don't really need to actually have a second sub oscillator, but just in case I want to add it later on, I can just bump up the you know the volume of the second oscillator, and I can have it okay. So now let's move on to the filter sections, and I use the two filters on here. And let's start off by routing our oscillators into the filters. So let's activate oscillator 1, which is already on by default, sub oscillator 1, and oscillator 2. The sub 2 we don't need, as we said. It's, but just if later on we can also turn it on. So we don't have to later on go in and activate it. It's already on if we need to. And yeah, as a type of the filter one, I have set, instead of low pass 24, low pass 12, set the input gain a little bit up around +2 dB, and cutoff of filter one is all the way up. The resonance is up around 35, and the volume all the way up. We're going to also later on assign a filter envelope, but we're going to look at this a little bit later. Now let's move on the second filter section, and let's route again oscillator 1, sub 1, filter 1, and oscillator 2, and also sub 2 if we need to. So instead of low pass 12, this time I'm going to have an high pass, but okay, I can also deactivate sub 2, as it's not necessary. Input gain would go into lower it down a little bit around -1 dB or -50 even, and yeah, I'm going to low down the cutoff to around 42, and the resonance I'm going to bring it up a bit around 10.50. The volume I'm going to leave it halfway, and I'm going to set the mod env from 2 to 1 and give them a slight, key tracking for both, just around 5, no, just around 10. Yeah, 10 is good. And yeah, now let's go ahead and set up our envelopes here. So we're just going to have, I think, yeah, two envelopes, one for the amplifier and one for the filters. So let's go ahead and set up our envelope, amplifier envelope. So we have no attack, just slight decay around 20. The sustain is a little bit up, and the release is around 10, more or less, 10-ish. And let's see how it sounds like. Maybe I have to copy the amplifier envelope 1 and paste it to amplifier envelope 2. So yeah, definitely. So I don't have this release kind of attack here. So because I use both of the oscillators, amplifier 1 is controlling basically only oscillator 1, but oscillator 2 needs the same as yeah, amplifier 1. So we're going to copy and paste it. So different is for the filters, because I can route the filters from here, from 1 or 2 here. So I'm going to route both of the filters to mod 1. So I only use one envelope for both filters. So yeah, let's go ahead and set up our filter envelope. We have no attack, slight decay around 15 or something, around 20. No sustain or very, very little one, around 4 or 5, or even 10, maximum 10. And we want to raise the release a little bit up around 40. So let's give it a little bit of velocity to these, around 12, and yeah. Now we are basically done in the setting up the things here, but we only have to make to apply some effects now. So the cool thing about Hive here is basically that you can move before and after one specific effect in the chain. You can set up, for example, the equalizer before or after the compressor or the phaser or whatever it is. Think that you cannot actually do it in Silent One, for example. In Silent One you have a specified chain where you cannot move effects around, or for example, yeah, it's basically like that. So I just want to bring the compressor up in the chain as first and activate it. I'm going to low down the output of the compressor around minus 4.20 dB, and I'm going to add the amount around yeah, 25%. The attack is going to be around 7 milliseconds, and release is going to be around 400 milliseconds. Then next up we have the chorus. We want to take the chorus, and let's change the modality of the chorus from classic to ensemble. And now I'm going to play ahead and move parameters around to see how the chorus is going to be. So let's see. Just give a little bit of chorus, just to a little bit color the sound. Then next up we want to have some distortion to really now to cook the sound a little bit, to really make it more aggressive, more very, very much more filthy. So let's go ahead and change the distortion modality from soft clip to foldback. And let's bring the mix, the wet mix, a little bit down around 64. Yeah, around 64. The tone we want to have a little bit more, around 70. And the amount of distortion is going to be around 20 or something, between 18 and 20. So then we want to have some EQ going on, and let's set the bass frequency around 40, between 40 and 45, and boost up the bass gain around 220 dB plus 220. The mid frequency we're going to set up around 72 or 70, and boost the mid gain around I don't know, 460 or even more. Yeah, around 640. And let's bring the high frequency a little bit down, and the high gain a little bit up around 340 plus 340 dB. And that's it basically for effects. So let's hear how it sounds like. And you can really hear that, the sound is really much more aggressive and much more filthy. It's very dirty. So the last thing I want to do now is basically go ahead and assign some modulation matrix, so I can be able to modulate some parameters, and the sound itself with my modulation wheel, as much as I turn my modulation wheel up or down, the sound is going to change. So I'm actually going to set 4 modulation slots. And basically, yeah, I'm going to set these modulation sources all to the modulation wheel in my case, but if you want, you can also go ahead and add a little bit more. So let's start with the modulation one. We set a source, of course, as we said, modulation wheel, and we're going to assign the first sub parameter to filter cutoff 1, and we're going to low down the destination around minus 70, 75 or around that. And we're going to bring also, we're going to assign that also to filter 2 cutoff, and we're going to boost up a bit around 35, the destination, plus 35. And yeah, let's go ahead now on the second one, modulation wheel, and we're actually going to modulate the amount of distortion, and we're going to low down just a little bit around 16, between 12 and minus 16, and yeah, a little bit more on that amount, and yeah, let's hear. Great. And yeah, so we want to also uh, modulate the mids of the EQ, the gain, the mid gain. And I'm going to low down a little bit around minus, minus 20 on the destination. The third one is going to be mod wheel, and here mod wheel. Now I can, let's see, we can eventually modulate the filter to resonance, and I'm going to boost up a bit around plus 26, yeah, or even plus 32. And last, no, last one for the third, yeah, slot is going to be, yeah, we can add a little bit more release to this on the amp 1, and just a little bit more, around 12. And the same is for the second one, so 14 and 12. Yeah, like that. Oh, also one thing I forgot to mention, is that we have to assign, some filter envelope. to the to our filter. So we're going to link this with this button here activated, and we're going to move this encoder around plus 68, and we can unlink this. So now both of the filters are being affected by mod1 envelopes, which is going to be our filter envelope. I think we're pretty much done. So let's go ahead and see how it sounds like, of course, by moving our modulation wheel up or down. Yeah, of course, I'm moving, some destinations amount around, just to, listening to the sound, how it sounds now, and changing the parameters the way I like right now. So don't really quote me on my, instructions on the destinations amount, but, just see and try to learn something, basically, yeah. And also one thing I would like to do is give it a little bit of glide here, just for fun, just for the sake of it. So in that way, it kind of sounds a bit more legato-ish, it's a bit more analog-ish. Oh, and also one thing I forgot is set the mode from poly to mono. I mean, this is not really something very important, but if you set to mono, it would be better, just to specify that this is just a mono sound, not a polyphonic sound, like it could be a lead or a plaque or whatever, a pad or anything like that, really. The thing I can do is also add another modulation slot, again with the mod wheel, and assign that to the mix, to the wet mix of the distortion to, add a little bit of distortion. So let's see how it sounds like. And yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. That's basically my patch. It's basically done now. I don't have to do anything more. It sounds like the other one from before, from my original. So yeah, I think this is pretty much cool. Guys, if you like this video, please give it a like, a thumb up, share everywhere on Facebook, Twitter, whatever you want. Please also consider helping me, by donating or subscribing to this channel if you also want to, staying up to date with other tutorials or anything I publish on this channel. And in the meantime, guys, I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.